Hello again, everyone. I'm going to do another quick video today on shading, and this time I'm going to be using some water-soluble pencils. There are various sorts around. I have these, which are watercolour pencils, these, which are called Inktense, which are a form of ink inside. And as with yesterday's video on alcohol markers, the paper or card that you use for your colouring is really important for the medium that you're actually using. So today I am using some watercolour paper because I'm going to be using water. And I particularly like this one because, in fact, it's very smooth. Lots of watercolour paper is lumpy, pitted. It's got a beautiful surface. But because I want to be stamping, and I'm going to be using quite a small, intricate little stamp, I do want a good impression. So this one is really very smooth. It says it's suitable for fine liners and mixed media. It's Derwent. So my paper is from Derwent and my pencils are from Derwent. The image I'm going to be using today is this little chap here. This is from the Colorado Craft Company, an image by Anita Jeram. She's the wonderful illustrator who illustrated that fabulous children's book, Guess How Much I Love You. Little nut brown hair, wonderful. I used to love reading that to the kids. Anyway, here's a little mouse with a paintbrush. There are three little sentiments. One says, makes something beautiful to share today. Another one says, be creative. And this one says, a well-used brush is a good thing. I think that's fabulous. So I'm going to use this little chap. I'm going to stamp him onto a piece of my Derwent £140 cold-pressed watercolour paper, which is very smooth, and I'm going to be using some Inktense pencils. And I'm going to use very few today. I am going to use grey. I'm going to make a little grey mouse. I'm going to use grey. I'd like to use some blue for the handle of his paintbrush. I would like to use some brown for the bristles of his paintbrush, and maybe just a hint of red. I know I know mice don't have rosy cheeks, but you know, a little bit of poetic license doesn't hurt anybody, does it really? So let's put that over there. I don't think I need the white here. Let's just put this straight onto the mat. Okay, to stamp, I am going to, again, I was talking yesterday about the right kind of ink for the right kind of colouring that you're going to do. Today, I am using Versafine Clair. Okay, so we're going to stamp our little mouse. Isn't he a sweetie? The artist's signature is down here, but it almost looks like a bit of, you know, the floor shading underneath. It's beautiful. I'm going to put it on one side because I'll be able to cut this down to use on a card somewhere or other, one hopes. I'm a bit funny about the colour of card. I don't like a yellowy card on a white background, so I may have to think about it. And again, I'm leaving it just a moment or two so that ink properly transfers to the paper. Okay, isn't that a lovely image? Just give this a quick wipe off. Now, the other thing that you need to have for this particular technique, if you've got a small image like this, is a fairly fine brush. I've got a couple here, and I think I'll be using the larger of these two. The other thing that you will need to have just near to hand is a piece of paper towel. Because when you pop your brush into the water, sometimes you might get too much, and you just need to be able to have somewhere to dab off your brush if you've got too much water, if you've got too much colour, whatever. So we'll put that away. We'll put this nearby. And the first thing I'm going to do is ignore the brushes altogether, and I'm just going to colour. Now, as I did yesterday with the alcohol markers, I'm just going to colour where that shading would be. I started off yesterday doing the deepest shadows and then going back. So that's what I'm going to do again. So I'm just going to go around this edge. I'm imagining that the light is coming. You can see here there's a shadow down this side of this paintbrush. So the light is coming from the right-hand side. So the shading, the shadows are going to be on the left-hand side. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm just ziggy-zagging, just going around the edge. There's a bit of shading here, so you can kind of follow that round. I'm going to put a little bit on the edge here, just to define the edge of the mouse. Up here. Give him a bit of a darker nose. Bit of colour on the edge. And with watercolour, you don't have to be afraid of leaving some of the paper with no paint on. So, you know, you can just... And I'm just scribbling, really, around, basically around the edge. Give his backside of that arm a bit of a little, this bit in here. And I'm going to do all my colouring, putting all the colour on before I add any water whatsoever. Right, let's just do the paintbrush, and I'm just going to put some colour down this left-hand side. That's all I'm going to do. I'll use the same grey. Is this the grey? Yes, this is charcoal grey. I do like these pencils because they do have a lot of I was going to say intense colour. That's what they are. And a little bit of the brown. Just I'm going to put where the bristles emerge from the shaft of the paintbrush. Just there, just at the bottom. I'll move it around in a moment, and I'm just going to do the hint of a rosy cheek. Okay. Bit silly, isn't it? I might put a little bit pink in his ear as well. There we go. Now, next thing, that's all the colour I'm going to put on. I brush, fine brush, into the water. And the first thing I'm going to do is just activate this pigment. So I'm just going to wet it. A bit too much. Wet it all the way like this. And then start to just pull it around a little bit. You've got to just get that water mixed with the colour that you've laid down, and then you can drag it around. If you've got too much pigment on your brush, get rid of it. Need a bit more water, just get a bit more. But that colour that you've put on with the pencil just needs to be activated. Now, I've probably got enough pigment on my brush here to be able to do the tail. The tail is too fine for you to get a pencil into, even if your pencils are nice and sharp. I've got a Prismacolor pencil sharpener here, so that is really good for soft centered brushes. Okay, just going to play around with his cheek now. Warm that up. Take some away. The more water you add, the paler the shade. Okay, now I just want to kind of, it's not going to happen much, but I just want to blur these edges a bit, and I'm going to leave a lot of his tummy white. Because I let that dry a little, we've got a definite line. I can just blur it slightly. Lift it off. Okay, there he is. Now the brush. Again, first thing I'm going to do is activate the colour. So I'm going to mix the water with the pigment, and then I'm just going to drag it across a little bit. There we go. And that's enough. Don't need to do any more. Change colour, so rinse your brush down the handle. That's the metal bit. And now the bristles at the top. Activate and just pull. Move that colour around. And that's kind of it. Really simple. Absolutely no need to take a lot of fuss. And you only need, you know, a handful of pencils. Did I use all of them? 1, 2, 3, 4 pencils. That's all. So, short and sweet again. I hope it's helped, but I always put my shading on where I want it to be at the extremities. Get it activated, pull it around a little bit, and we're done. Apologies to the people who are actual watercolourists, because I don't actually know what I'm doing. I just know what works for me. So, maybe it'll work for you too. Thank you so much for watching.